In some ways, it's even worse. The president said the Senate bill needed heart. The way this bill cuts health care is heartless.
It's heartless. And, the other funny thing about this is the next thing they're going to claim is people on Medicaid are going to go without. But just listen to the facts before you listen to the spin.
Look, Medicaid will increase under this plan every year. It will increase every year at the rate of inflation.
That's Senator John Thune, who helped write the thing. Ask Annie Fry of the Annie Fry Show on Saturdays from 5 to 7 to step into the studio.
Thank you.
She had a little vacation earlier this week, so we're glad she's back. Tomorrow morning, she's going to be sitting in for Jamie Allman bright and early at 5 a.m.
This is a first for me. So you can tune in from 5 to 9, and we'll see what happens.
It's going to be awesome. You can pick the music, so you can tell the young ladies, Trish and Katie, what kind of music you want, and they'll play your music.
Will our music be the same? I don't know. Your music is a little more.
No, I'm 80s, 90s.
This is kind of more my speed.
There you go. Whatever you want. Jamie's musical tastes are very eclectic.
Yes.
But whenever his hosts fill in for him, they can choose whatever music they want. So.
I'm excited. I have a lot of work to do between now and then. As you know, you cannot prepare. I've known that I was going to fill in for a few weeks. But you cannot prepare for a news show
until 2 weeks out.
Until it's time to learn the news. So
he gets lots of great call support. You'll be fine in the morning. I'm
excited about it.
Yeah, I asked Ann in here because I wanted her thoughts on this draft, this bill. You've already, of course, got 4 Republicans saying no, but they also want to leverage it a little bit, I think. They're looking for some negotiation.
Yeah, I think there's 2 things that I find very humorous about the way Democrats are reacting to the bill or the reconciliation, whatever it is, as it's coming out. One thing is that everyone's freaking out about this being a tax cut, a tax reform bill in disguise. All the Democrats are saying that, this is just a way for the Republicans to give a tax break to the wealthy. Well, it would only be that if, in fact, when you passed it in the first place, it was a tax increase, which Congress said it was not.
Right.
And the Supreme Court said the only way that this is a legal matter is if it is a tax increase. So when the Democrats were pushing this through in order to make it come to fruition, they kept telling us that this is not a new tax, this is not a new
mandate,
tax. But now to pull it back is a tax decrease. How come that is? That's kind of hypocritical. And
it reminds me of that Jonathan Gruber guy, who he's brutally
honest.
Yeah, he's one of the voices you heard today on that montage I played just a minute ago. If Liz can find number 9, Liz. He called this. Well, I'll let you listen to number 9 again. Listen.
This is a middle finger to representative democracy.
Let me remind you what this guy from MIT, that's not Merrimack in town, that's the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, right? This guy from MIT had this to say about Obamacare, and listen very closely to the last few seconds when he talks about how stupid most Americans are, and that's how they snuck it in.
This bill was written in a tortured way to make sure CBO did not score the mandate as taxes. If CBO scored the mandate as taxes, the bill dies. Okay, so it's written to do that. In terms of risk-rated subsidies, if you had a law which said healthy people are going to pay in, it made explicit that healthy people pay in and sick people get money, it would not have passed. Okay, just like lack of transparency is a huge political advantage, and basically, call it the stupidity of the American voter or whatever. But basically, that was really, really critical to getting the thing to pass. And, it's the second best argument. Look, I wish Mark was right. We can make it all transparent, but I'd rather have this law than not.
So, yeah, because they know better. They're smarter than we are, and they're going to do the things at that high level that is better for the little people here in the country that are just too dumb to know and too dumb to even look into and try to find out the details. That's why they want the lack of transparency.
Let's get back to what he just said, but now he's got the audacity to say that this bill is a middle finger to representative democracy. And right there he's talking about the fact that the lack of transparency on the first bill is the only reason they got it passed.
The hypocrisy is rampant. And the other part of this that really just makes me chuckle inside is their accusations of secrecy and not including, hey, if you want to come to the table and you want to contribute to making Obamacare, eventually go away, but making it less of a burden on the people, come to the table and talk about it. The Republicans would welcome you there. But none of them are willing to do that. They've excluded themselves, and then they want to point their fingers at all the Republicans for doing things behind closed doors, which we all know if you want to we have to pass the bill so that we can see what's in it.
So we can see what's in it. That nothing rings truer than that. And Pelosi was one of the ones being so critical of him. I had Alderman Jeffrey Boyd, and I almost called him Rodney Boyd. I had Alderman Jeffrey Boyd in here a few minutes ago, and we were kicking around this special session down in Jeff City where they're debating a bill that would roll back what we referred to as abortion sanctuary status for the city. So where they wrapped the protections of the law around the abortion industry and said, if they want to locate in your building, you can't stop them, whether it's against your religious beliefs or not. You'd be discriminating. So the Archdiocese pushed back on this, right? Alderman Boyd wants to argue that it's so you can't discriminate against a woman who's had an abortion. And I said, well,
I heard you.
Give me an example. Give me one example of where that's been a problem. First of all, if you've had an abortion, there's a very good chance you haven't told anyone except maybe the other person responsible for making the life that you chose to vacuum out.
I'll say it.
But you're not going to go to a landlord and write on the landlord application, I've had an abortion, and then they're going to say, well, I'm not renting to you. That doesn't happen.
The abortion conversation always comes down to which side you want to advocate for. Nobody wants to advocate when it comes to matters like this. Nobody ever wants to advocate for the baby. Let's take the baby here and set the baby conversation, the actual abortion conversation aside. What about the people who do believe that abortion is wrong, the people who have religious beliefs, but also people who have moral beliefs? People always want to classify abortion as a religious issue. It isn't. It's a moral issue, and some people get their morals from their religion. Some people just get their morals from their agnostic mom and dad who believe a certain thing and set that morality. It doesn't have to be religious. And what we're worried about discriminating against people who have had abortions or who want to perform abortions. We're not taking into consideration the others who might have beliefs that go strongly against supporting something like this, having a tenant in your building that wants to do something that you believe is heinous. We don't consider those people. And when we overregulate these situations, as he was saying, I don't really know of a circumstance where this has happened, but we want to prevent it from ever happening in the future.
You need to be more tolerant. The left in this country is tolerant unless you disagree with them.
Yes, absolutely.
Steve, you're on the radio with Mark and Annie.
Oh, hi. Hey, first I want to tell you, I love your show.
Oh, thank you.
Amy Fry, you're great, too.
Thank you.
I love listening to you, too.
Thanks.
Real brief, just to put it in perspective with the abortion bill for Alderman Boyd, I think this would be the same as if they passed a rule protecting men that had vasectomies. Because vasectomies are forbidden by the church also. So that's kind of how ludicrous this law is.
Yeah, I don't think that one's going to come rolling down the path of the progressive left in St. Louis anytime soon.
Hopefully not.
Steve, thanks for the call.
All right.
Yeah, we appreciate it. His point is well taken.
A funny thing about vasectomies, has that ever been said on your
is
show
before?
Is
that a funny thing? I got a bag of peas I can borrow? No,
Obamacare covers, sterilization or whatever it is for the vasectomy for women, whatever you call that. I can't remember what the word is right now. They'll recover it for women. It's an actual invasive surgery. It's much more serious. You have to put the female under to do that. Obamacare will cover that, but they won't cover a vasectomy.
A tubal ligation?
Tubal ligation. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and you talk about women's rights. Well, how much better off would we be if we're going to cover it? Why wouldn't we? In the sense of equality, cover it for both. That's why Obamacare is full of political games and advantages to people who the folks in Washington, D.C. believe they get the advantage of telling you.
Right.
That's why we need to get rid of something like this.
And the tax thing you brought up earlier is another example of it. It was a transfer of wealth. It was throwing the baby out with the bathwater, so to speak, to fix a problem that wasn't nearly as big as the cure. And it was an opportunity to raise billions of dollars in taxes, and now they don't. Now they're acting like the government's going to lose money if they have to cut those taxes that they just raised a couple of years ago. Well, if we don't have Obamacare, we don't need all that money. Thank you. It's the people's money. Annie, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Always great to have. Good luck in the morning. I don't have to say that. You're going to do great.
Well, I hope
It's like riding a horse. You get on there, you start talking, people call. It's easy. Nothing to it.
A lot earlier than Saturday at 5 p.m.
That's true.
We'll take it, though.
The
Any
hours are a
opportunity is
challenge.
good.
But Tricia and Katie are great. They'll take great care of you. I know they will. All right, awesome. The FBI is holding a news conference right now on the stabbing of that police officer up at the airport in Flint. I already told you they said it's a guy from Canada who's of Tunisian descent who was screaming